Welcome back to my channel. Tonight's episode isn't just another chapter in the Sister Wives saga. It's the kind of revelation that can tear through the polished image of an entire family empire. What you're about to hear has been quietly developing behind the scenes, far away from the TLC cameras and the scripted smiles. This is the story the network never wanted you to know. What we've pieced together comes from insider accounts, timeline analysis, and whispers from people close to the Browns. While the claims have yet to be publicly verified, the evidence laid before us paints a portrait so stunning it could redefine everything we thought we knew about this family. For over a decade, we've watched the Browns unravel. The cracks, the tears, the endless arguments. We thought it was just about jealousy, favoritism, and hurt feelings. But what if all of that emotional chaos was only a smokescreen? What if behind the public heartbreak was a cold, calculated financial betrayal? Because according to sources, this was never just about broken hearts or bank accounts. It was about inheritance. And if the court documents and whispers are true, a secret will has emerged, one that names only Robyn and her children as heirs to the entire Brown family fortune. And now, a judge has reportedly ruled this will part of a $2.8 million fraud scheme. This isn't just family drama anymore. This is a legacy shattered. A patriarch branded as the betrayer of his own bloodline. Before we dive into the heart of this bombshell, do me a favor. Hit that like button so this story reaches every Sister Wives fan who deserves to know the truth. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications, because what comes next is going to shake the entire Sister Wives universe. Now let's go back to the beginning, to the illusion of unity that held this family together. The Browns sold the world a story. One family, one vision, one financial pot. Meri was the first to bring in income. Janelle, the tireless worker, sacrificed her retirement savings for the family dream. Christine, the homemaker, carried the weight of raising the children so the others could build the family brand. Every dollar, every hour, every sacrifice was poured into one shared covenant, the belief that they were building something together. When they fled Utah for Las Vegas, that covenant solidified. For homes, for wives, one cul-de-sac. It was the symbol of their unity, each home financed by complex loans, bankruptcies, and shared earnings. The equity in those homes was meant to be the foundation for their future, for all 18 of their children. But everything changed with one signature, the divorce between Cody and Meri. At the time, it was painted as a sacrifice of love. Cody needed to legally marry Robyn so he could adopt her 3 children. Cameras rolled as Meri cried, believing she was doing the right thing for the family. She was promised that nothing would change, that she would remain the first wife, spiritually equal in every way. But insiders now believe that moment wasn't a sacrifice. It was a setup. The first step in a multi-year plan to cut the original 3 wives out of the family's assets and shift everything under the legal control of Cody and Robyn. It was an internal memo from an estate planning firm addressed directly to Cody Brown. Inside, the memo referenced the creation of something called the Solomon Trust. The assets listed for transfer into this trust were shocking. The Coyote Pass land, the family's media earnings, and even a hidden brokerage account. And the name of the trust? It wasn't the Brown Family Trust. It was the Solomon Trust, named after Cody and Robyn's youngest son. Christine had never heard of it. None of the other wives had. When she forwarded it to her attorney, the response was immediate. This wasn't just a legal curiosity. This was a red flag of deliberate financial concealment. Christine had pulled on a thread, and that single thread unraveled a decade of deceit. She couldn't carry it alone. So she made the calls that would change everything. First to Janelle, the practical one, the family's steady rock. Christine explained the document. Janelle thought it had to be a misunderstanding. Cody could be manipulative, sure, but this? Moving assets behind their backs? It was unthinkable. Then Christine sent her the file. Janelle sat in her RV on Coyote Pass, looking out over the land that memo claimed no longer belonged to her. When she saw the words, the Solomon Trust, her heart sank. Memories came rushing back, the endless fights about money, the excuses, The mysterious way Cody and Robyn always had cash for luxuries while the rest struggled. Finally, there was one last call. The hardest one.
Meri.
Their relationship was distant. Cold. But this wasn't about friendship anymore, it was about legacy. That night, across 3 states, Utah, Arizona, and Nevada, the OG3 connected on a private video call. And for the first time in almost 10 years, they weren't rivals. They weren't sister wives. They were a united front, ready to expose the truth that could destroy the illusion the Browns had built for over a decade. What you're about to hear is the kind of story that stops time, a story that rips the curtain wide open on a truth buried under years of reality TV smiles, family slogans, and spiritual justifications.
This isn't gossip.
This isn't guesswork. This is the result of months of insider leaks, forensic discoveries, and a web of documents that expose a betrayal deeper than any emotional fallout we've ever seen on Sister Wives. When Christine, Janelle, and Meri compared notes for the first time in years, something terrifying emerged. Each woman had her own scars, different wounds, same weapon. Meri remembered asking Cody for help funding her B&B, a modest request, something that could have secured her future after decades of loyalty. He said the family had no money. 2 weeks later, Robyn drove up in a brand new car. Janelle, who'd poured her soul and savings into the Coyote Pass dream, spoke of endless delays. Every time she asked for a budget or plan, Cody moved the goalposts, claiming mysterious financial constraints, market conditions, or family priorities. And Christine, the one who had finally broken free, she shared how her rightful equity, the money she'd earned from selling her Las Vegas home, had been twisted into a maze of excuses, withheld paperwork, and endless delays. Piece by piece, they began to see the picture. And the picture was horrifying. This wasn't just favoritism. This wasn't about emotional neglect. This was a heist. They hadn't just been left out. They'd been erased. Quietly. Legally. Deliberately. That night, in a 3-way call stretching across 3 states, the original wives made a pact. The rivalry was dead. The competition was meaningless. They would pool their resources, hire the best legal and forensic experts, and take Cody and Robyn to court. The investigation began quietly, sealed from the media, hidden from the cameras. But behind closed doors, chaos was erupting. The motion filed by the OG3's attorneys was a bomb. A petition to freeze all known assets of DABSARK Entertainment and demand a forensic audit of every Brown family financial transaction since Cody's legal marriage to Robyn. And what that audit uncovered, according to sources close to the case, was nothing short of criminal genius. Finding 1, the funnel of deception for years, TLC income, the money earned from every interview, every season, every family appearance, had been funneled straight into DABSARK Entertainment. And if that name sounds familiar, it should. DABSARK, Dayton, Aurora, Brianna, Solomon, Ariella, Robyn, and Cody.
No Christine. No Janelle. No Meri.
No other children. A small trickle of money went to a shared family account, just enough to cover bills and keep the illusion of unity. But the rest, roughly 70% of the show's entire income, was siphoned into a private fund under Cody and Robyn's control. That's where the $1 million house came from. That's where the jewelry business was bankrolled. That's where the investments, the ones no one else knew about, were quietly building their fortune. Finding 2, the land that was stolen Coyote Pass, the dream that tore the family apart. Everyone thought they owned a piece. Everyone thought they were building toward their own home. But legal documents revealed something sinister, a series of quitclaim deeds that stripped Christine, Janelle, and Meri of their ownership, transferring everything first into Cody's name and then into DABSARK LLC. The result? The land they had paid for, sweated for, dreamed over, was no longer theirs. They weren't landowners. They were tenants, living on property owned by Cody and Robyn's corporation. Finding 3. The debt that buried them while Cody and Robyn quietly built wealth, they also built debt, but not in their own names. Lines of credit were taken out against the family's shared equity. Money borrowed on everyone's signature, spent on luxury vehicles, jewelry, and business ventures that benefited only one household. It was a system of breathtaking arrogance. Privatize the profits, socialize the losses. Imagine Janelle, living in an RV, believing she was roughing it for her future, while Cody mortgaged the very ground under her wheels. Imagine Meri, pouring her soul into her inn, thinking she was helping the family survive, while her profits disappeared into an account she would never see. Imagine Christine, holding on to faith that Cody would make things right, while every dollar she earned was helping to build someone else's empire. The forensic report, over 200 pages long, was the ammunition the OG3 needed. But the accountant noticed something else. A detail so small, it almost escaped notice. A recurring annual payment. A few $100s. Labeled simply, safe storage fee. It led to a local Flagstaff bank. And in that vault sat a safe deposit box under the names Cody Brown and Robyn Brown. When the judge ordered it opened, the room went silent. The drill screamed through the metal. Inside, documents.
Jewelry.
And one thick, sealed envelope. It bore the letterhead of the same estate firm Christine's lawyer had seen referenced in that mysterious PDF, the one accidentally sent months before. The envelope was opened. Inside, a title, The Last Will and Testament of Cody W. Brown. The air in that room froze. It wasn't a draft. It wasn't an idea. It was notarized.
Signed.
Sealed. And what it revealed confirmed their worst fears. Article 1. Executor. Robyn Sullivan Brown. The sole controller of Cody's entire estate. Article 2. Primary beneficiary, 100% to Robyn Brown. Every property. Every account. Every right to the Brown family legacy. Not a single word for Meri. Not a cent for Janelle. Not a trace of Christine. And in that moment, the illusion of family, of faith, of shared destiny, died forever. What comes next is the part of the story that no one saw coming. The twist so brutal, so deliberate, it turned an already devastating betrayal into something almost unspeakable. After uncovering the Solomon will, Christine, Janelle, and Meri believed they had seen the worst. But as their legal team dug deeper into the fine print, what they found in Article 3 changed everything. Article 3. The contingency clause: if Robyn were to pass away before Cody, the entire estate, every dollar, every acre, every ounce of power, would not go to the 18 children. Instead, it would all be transferred into something called the Solomon Trust. The trustee? Not an attorney. Not a neutral executor. It was Robyn's own sister. And the beneficiaries? Not the Brown family as a whole. Not the original wives' children. Only 5 names: Dayton, Aurora, Brianna, Solomon, and Ariella. It wasn't just favoritism anymore, it was a bloodline coup. Then came Article 4, the Disinheritance Clause. A passage so cruel it made even the attorneys in the room pause. Buried deep in the legal text, Cody had listed each of his other children by name: Logan, Aspen, Leon, Madison, Michael T., Hunter, Paydon, Garrison, Gabriel, Gwendolyn, Isabel, and Truly, and the clause declared, "They have been provided for during my lifetime and shall receive no part of my residual estate." That single sentence erased 3 decades of family. It erased birthdays, milestones, and the illusion of unity the world once watched unfold on TV. This wasn't just about money. It was about legacy. Cody wasn't disinheriting his ex-wives. He was disinheriting his own children, writing them out of history, with a smile, a signature, and a stamp. But karma has a way of creeping in through the cracks of arrogance. Because in their rush to secure power forever, Cody and Robyn made one fatal mistake. Their so-called legal will, the cornerstone of their secret empire, contained a date and a notary signature that didn't hold up under scrutiny. The document was notarized on March 17th, 2 years prior. The notary public listed was based in Flagstaff, Arizona. But when the OG3's lawyers ran a routine background check, they found something stunning. The notary's commission had expired 6 months before that date. That means the signature and the notarization itself were fraudulent. Still, that was just the beginning. When investigators compared social media posts, airline itineraries, and TLC filming logs, they discovered something even worse. On March 17th, Cody wasn't even in Flagstaff. He was in Utah, attending a family event. He could not have signed that document in front of that notary because he wasn't even in the same state. The entire will, the foundation of Cody and Robyn's secret plan, was a provable lie. The smoking gun wasn't just evidence anymore. It was an explosion. A cannon blast aimed directly at Cody and Robyn. With the fraudulent notarization confirmed, the lawsuit shifted from civil to criminal territory. The case now had everything: financial manipulation, document fraud, and an attempt to rewrite an entire family's legacy. And that's when the courtroom showdown began. And just like that, the patriarch's empire of control began to collapse. Robyn sat still, her eyes down, her hand gripping the armrest so tightly her knuckles turned white. Cody's voice cracked, his tone shifting from arrogance to panic. For the first time, it wasn't the wives who looked lost, it was him. This was no longer about emotions, jealousy, or family dynamics. It was fraud. It was betrayal on paper. And in the next part, the verdict would land like thunder. The $2.8 million judgment. The public reckoning. The day the patriarch's kingdom finally fell. Make sure you're subscribed, because in part 2, we're taking you inside that explosive verdict, where the judge's words silenced the room and the family's future was rewritten forever. What unfolded inside that courtroom wasn't just a legal battle, it was a reckoning years in the making. Cody Brown sat rigid, jaw clenched, his eyes darting between the judge and the sealed folder on the bench. Robyn's hands trembled as she tried to appear composed, but the cracks were already showing. Across the aisle, Christine and Janelle exchanged a silent glance, not of vengeance, but of vindication. For the first time in over a decade, the truth had nowhere left to hide. The air felt heavy, as if every whispered lie, every forged signature, every tear shed in silence had returned to fill the room. When the bailiff stepped forward, breaking the seal on the confidential documents, it wasn't just paper rustling, it was the sound of an empire collapsing. The judge's voice cut through the tension like a blade. What he revealed next would dismantle everything Cody and Robyn had built on manipulation and deceit. Hidden accounts, misappropriated funds, property transfers done under the guise of family trust. Christine bowed her head, whispering something to herself, maybe a prayer, maybe a memory of everything she'd lost to Cody's control. Janelle, meanwhile, didn't blink once. Her silence wasn't fear. It was strength, the kind that comes only after being broken and rebuilt by betrayal. Robyn tried to speak, her voice quivering, but the judge silenced her with a single raised hand. "Mrs. Brown," he said sternly, "you will have your turn. Right now, we are reviewing evidence of deliberate financial concealment." The words hit like thunder. Cody's mask finally cracked. His lips twitched, his eyes widened, and for a split second, the patriarch everyone feared looked small, powerless. Christine watched him the way you'd watch a storm finally pass. Years of control, emotional abuse, and favoritism, all unraveling in public under oath. This wasn't a family anymore. It was a battlefield, and every secret Cody buried was surfacing one by one. The courtroom wasn't just a place of judgment that day. It was the burial ground of the illusion Cody Brown had spent his life protecting. And when the final piece of evidence slid across the table, a document bearing Robyn's signature, dated and notarized, Christine's tears finally fell. Not out of sorrow but relief. Because justice at long last had arrived.